What is up, everybody? Keith Mitchell here, and ever since we got the Lies of P, an upcoming Souls-like demo from Summer Game Fest, I've been doing nothing but playing that game. This game has me so excited, and I've been looking forward to playing this game for quite some time. And after spending a good, I want to say maybe 10 or 12 hours with the game, there are a couple things I really want to talk about because I think these things are what separates the games from other Souls-like titles. That being the block and health system because they're tied together, the perfect guard, or what I like to call perfect block system, weapon degradation, which is really done well given the fact that some games just have not perfected this. The lying system, which will influence how your game goes, as I understand it, there are multiple endings given on how well you lie or you don't lie given certain situations. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Also, the prosthetic arm that the character has in this game. So let's get talking about this because I'm really excited about Lies of P. So let's talk about the prosthetic arm. So when you first start out the game, you'll notice that the character has a prosthetic arm, a left arm to be exact. If you just tap the button down on your controller, it will do a quick hit. But if you hold it down, it actually charges and smacks enemies for quite a bit of damage. The downside to this is every time you use that prosthetic arm, it will cause damage to it. And if you use it too much, the arm is then useless. But going further towards the game or the demo, I was able to upgrade my arm to one that allowed me to pull enemies closer to me, kind of like scorpions, like, get over here. And it was actually pretty good. It was really nice because you could pull enemies in and start comboing them to death or pull an enemy out of a situation, like if there's multiple enemies around and you just wanted to fight one at a time. That's really decent. I also was able to attack enemies who kept blocking, shooting them with that prosthetic arm attachment, and eventually broke their weapon. So this has a lot of different things that you can use it with. Oh, and also when I finished the demo, I also got a different prosthetic arm, which would have been helpful throughout the final boss of the demo, where it will absorb electric power and you can use it to shoot it back at enemies. So it looks like there's going to be quite a number of things that you're going to be able to do with this prosthetic arm, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. And it definitely reminds me of the prosthetic arm from Sekiro, so I'm excited to see what exactly the developer has in store for this weapon. There's also the blocking system, which I mentioned before is tied into the health system, so let's talk about that. This game, or at least the demo, does not have any shields, meaning that when you block in this game, your weapons will only block a percentage, and each weapon has a stat that tells you, hey, this blocked 50% or 60%, but there's nothing in the game thus far that blocks 100% of damage, at least not in the demo. What's interesting is when you're fighting enemies and you block, you lose health, but you don't really lose health. So it's kind of like in a fighting game where if you're getting beat down, you get a chance to recover a portion of your health, or even like Bloodborne, because this system is very similar. So basically, you block and you'll start seeing your health become translucent. And basically, what happens is you have a couple of seconds to either back away from the enemy, regain your posture, and go back in and start hitting them, or you will lose that health. But you won't lose it at all as long as you're blocking. However, you will lose it all if you stop blocking and you get smacked in the face, and anything that was pretty much translucent or white health, pink health, whatever you want to call it, you will definitely lose it. So what I found useful in the demo leads is block as much as I need to, wait for an opening, hit the enemy as much as I can, and get as much health back as possible. You also will lose that health if you continue to block and not attack the enemy. So make sure you hit the enemy. I really like this health system. I'm not sure many people are going to be fans of it, but it's showing that they're not exactly copying things from like other games in the Soul-like series. So it's also really nice for people who aren't used to playing Souls-like games. And I don't want to say this is kind of a crutch, but it's really useful. If I'm blocking and blocking and blocking, and then I know I can regain my health if I just wait for an opening, then I'm more inclined to do that. Especially since the dodge in this game is kind of busted, and I really hope they address that later on. You can only block as long as you have stamina, and if you run out of stamina, well, then you can't block anymore. That means enemies get free hits on you. So you don't want to hold block forever. Also, the more and more you actually block, the more your weapon will take damage. So yes, this game does have weapon degradation, and I'm going to talk about that next. So, as I briefly mentioned, this game does have weapon degradation. I know, save your booze. Let's talk about this because it's not as bad as you think. So, weapon degradation in this game basically means anytime you hit an enemy, anytime you block, there's a meter on the bottom right side of your screen that shows how much life your weapon has. And when it gets to the point where it's about to break or become very useless, it flashes red, which means, okay, I need to stop using this weapon. Good thing is you can carry 2 different weapons and swap anytime you want. The bad thing is, well, your weapon is about to break. However, this game has a very ingenious idea that trumps anything that any game has ever had regarding weapon degradation. Any weapon degradation in this game can be completely countered because your character has a built-in sharpener in their prosthetic arm. Yes, you heard me. Anytime you need to build your weapon back up, strengthen your weapon, you just take a pause, switch up to the sharpener in your prosthetic arm, take a couple seconds, and that is it. Your weapon is back to 100% use, and you don't have to worry about it breaking during a fight. It is an amazing idea. It's something that I wish this was done in other games, but this is a first. This is the first time I've ever seen a game that does something like this, giving you a built-in sharpener in your prosthetic arm. Genius. Pure genius. Thank you. It completely trumps the degradation in this game whatsoever. Your weapon is broken. All right, get out of combat, hide, do something, whatever, sharpen your weapon. You can just sharpen it for a couple seconds, as long as it's out of red, and get right back into combat. I've literally fought enemies, watched my weapon become red, moved out of combat so they couldn't hit me, sharpened my weapon for a brief second, and moved right back into combat. It is amazing stuff. Amazing. And if you don't understand why I'm excited, then you have not played many games where weapon degradation completely destroys you in the middle of combat. It also is worth mentioning that I found a couple of items in the demo that will repair your weapon back to 100%, but I only found a few of them while I played the game, so I don't imagine there'll be a lot of them in the full game as well. But maybe we'll get to buy them, who knows. There is also what's called a perfect guard, or what I like to refer to as a perfect block. Now, unlike your traditional block where you will take damage, if you're able to pull off a perfect guard, the only thing you will lose is stamina. So what happens is, just like most games where you need to parry, I'm looking at you, Sekiro, you basically have to guard or block at the very second that an attack is about to hit you. You'll know when you pull it off because it has a different sound. Instead of like a ching, it'll go dunk, like a clunk. And at that point in time, you also start to hurt the enemy there's a crumble system in this game, basically. And if you perfect block them or perfect guard them enough, their health bar will show white. It's kind of just like Sekiro yet again. And once their health bar is white, you can then do a very hard attack, what they call special attack in this game, and it will crumble them. You'll then get to use an attack which has a really unique animation, and you can do massive damage towards the enemy. Hello, Dark Souls 3 or maybe Bloodborne, you guys will know this because this is exactly what this does. However, if you miss that opportunity, that status will go away and you'll have to perfect guard them or perfect block them yet again. The only downside I had with this system is trying to pull it off. I feel that the window could be a little longer. I've tried to do it a couple times, and while I managed to pull it off, I then do it again, end up getting smacked in the face and wishing I had did a regular block instead. It would appear I'm not the only one having this issue. I've looked at the Steam forums, I looked at Reddit, and a lot of people are also complaining about the perfect guard. So hopefully the developer will take the feedback in consideration and actually adjust the window. And then we get to one of my favorite systems in the game, but one of those systems that we didn't get to really use much in the demo, the lying system. So as I understand, and because this game is based off Pinocchio, the wooden boy who wanted to become a human, but every time he told a lie, his nose grew longer. And it's even funny because when you're playing the game and you're going to a different screen, the loading screen actually shows a picture of Pinocchio with his nose getting longer as the game loads in. In the demo, you only had a chance to lie to get inside the hotel so you can progress the demo. And apparently, through this lore or the story of this game, puppets like Pinocchio are not allowed to lie. So the character, your protagonist, is unique because it is a puppet, and in this universe, puppets cannot lie. So lying is going to influence a lot of things in this game, some good, some bad. We don't know the whole thing, and we probably won't know until we play the full game. That said, we did have to lie to get inside the hotel, which meant if we didn't lie, we couldn't go any further. There's also a section in the demo that I really didn't want to spoil, but basically you will run into this old lady saying, hey, go get my baby. But of course, the time you find the baby's dead. So you bring back a puppet, a dead puppet, and you tell her, hey, it's her baby. But she doesn't know that because she has this sickness where scales grow over her eyes. So she's happy, she got her baby, she gives you something, you're happy, and we move on. I'm really looking forward to see how lying really influences this game and how many different endings Lies of P actually has. That said, folks, those are the mechanics that I'm looking forward to checking out further when the game comes out. If you enjoyed the video, please do us a favor and like the video. Leave a comment below if you haven't played the demo, and I will get back to you on any questions you may have. And as always, subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.